video is specifically to help understand using the TI-Nspire calculators, specifically with graphing systems, as well as changing the window of the calculator and the different restraints involved with that. So you'll have a problem that it'll be a word problem and you have to set up two equations from the word problem. We are going to be getting to that in this next lesson, but first, this video is strictly of how to use the calculator. So I've already created the two equations for you. The question might say something like, use your graphing calculator to sketch and label each of the linear functions for intervals 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 500. For today's purpose, it's going to be y equals 0.15x plus 22 and y equals 0.25x. There are specific steps to use the calculator, and I broke those steps down for you. So first, to graph. So we're just worried about graphing those equations. You first click on New Document, Add Graph, put the first equation in. Remember, it has to be in slope-intercept form. Hit Enter, hit Tab, then put the second equation in. Again, it has to be in slope-intercept form, and hit Enter. I just pulled up my calculator here. As you can see, this is the window you would see, and then on the left, this is the actual calculator. First thing you need to do is you need to hit On, and then go to New Document. If this box pops up, it will say, do you want to save unsaved document? Just hit No. Then we're going to go to Add Graphs. At the very top, you can see a blinking cursor, and that's just telling you this is where you're going to type your equation. It says f1 of x. This is telling you it's the first equation you're typing. It also you need to know that f of x, remember, is just a fancier way. It's a function notation of y equals. So the first equation we are doing is y equals 0.15x plus 22. So I'm just going to plug that in. 0.15x plus 22. And then I'll hit Enter. You cannot see the graph right now, so you're probably thinking it did not graph. It really did graph, but the restraints of the window doesn't allow you to see it. So just trust that it's there and go ahead and enter the second equation. To do that, we're going to hit Tab. See how it says f2 of x? That's meaning this is the second equation you're entering. And the equation was y equals 0.25x. And then hit Enter. You can see that equation. Now we're going to go back to our document and see our next step. And that's when we're finding our restraints. So first you're going to hit Control-T to get the table. Then you're going to hit Menu, Table, Edit Table Settings, Change Table Step, Table Start, Escape Menu, Table, Remove Table. Again, this will make sense in just a second. So going back to the calculator, I'm going to hit Control-P. That gives me a split screen, and I'm able to see the graph as well as the table. Then I'm going to go to Menu, Table, Edit Table Settings. My table start is always going to just be my lowest number of my restraint, which is 0 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 500. So my table is going to start at 0. What do I want my steps to go up by? Well, I'm going all the way to 500, so I don't want to go by ones. The thing that I would suggest would be 25s or 50s. I'm going to go by 50s for this. Then you hit OK. As you can see on your table, your x's automatically jumped from 0, 50 to 100, and then these are your y's. Now I need you to notice that this first column here is your x, the second column is your first equation, and the third column is your second equation. So when x is 0, for your first equation you get 22, for your second equation you get 0, and so on and so forth. We need to make sure that we look at these so we can determine what we want our window to be on. So I'm going to look here, and my y will always be 0. But I need to look to see when I get to 500, What is the highest number my y could be? 125. So you need to write that down somewhere. Okay. Here I'll go into your highest possible x of the restraint and seeing what the highest y is. Now, after I've written that down, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this table because I need to be able to see the graph in a better view. So I'm going to hit Menu, Table, Remove Table, and it'll go back to the graph. I still can't see that first equation, and that's where the window display comes into play. In order to change the window, you're going to go to Menu, hit 4, which is Window Zoom, 1, Window Setting. X-min is typically given to you, as well as X-max, and then your Y-min and max you'll find by looking at the table. So we go back to our calculator here. I'm going to go to Menu, Window Zoom, Window Settings. My min is going to be X-min is 0. My X-max is 500 because that was the restraints that were given in the very first problem. My Y-min also is 0. And then the Y max is, we knew that it can go up to 125, but I'm going to go a little bit farther and I'm just going to put 150. And then you hit OK. And now you can see where you can see both graphs because I've changed my window. And again, we will be learning how to sketch this graph by looking at this, but right now we're just talking about the calculator. Finally, it's going to ask for intercepts. So where does the intersection, where does it intersect? So to do this, you find the menu, analyze graphs, intersections, lower bound, so you're going to hit that just left of the intercept, and then upper bound just right of the intercept, and enter. So let's go back to the graphs and do this. So we're going to go to menu, analyze graph, intersection. My lower bound, see I can move this back and forth, so I'm going to hit it just to the left of the intersection. I'll move it to the right, and it tells me here that these two graphs intersect at 220 and 55. Make sure you bring any questions you have to class so we can go over this, and we're going to be practicing using this graphing calculator.